So, today, a quick one. I've watched a so-called Dangerous Visions episode. Uh, Now, in the past, I used to like them a lot. Long before I ever reviewed radio drama. I've heard loads more that were far better, but this happens to be the first Dangerous Visions that I am sort of reviewing. It's not though the best, it's probably the worst I've heard, at least the most mundane, shall we say. Now, Dangerous Visions are normally sci-fi, but this one isn't quite sci-fi at all. Um, it's it's a hypothetical sort of scenario still, not entirely so unrealistic. I mean, similar things have happened in the past, not identical things, obviously. Uh, yeah. So it's hypothetical, but it's not sci-fi at all. It's entirely Earth-based, and yeah, it is called. By the way, yeah, they all have names. It's called Forward Presence. Now, I'm not entirely sure why. Um, but no, I can guess. Yeah, I think I know. So it's about the NATO presence. Yeah, that's where it comes from. NATO presence. There is at the edge of what were the former USSR states, and that's pretty much it. That's the premise, and then whatever happens is the hypothesis. It's a drama 2 years old, 2018, I think, and it's very mundane. So I got to say, I mean, also it ends a bit strangely. I mean, in a way, it's so better that it didn't um, fall one way or another as to what happened exactly, right? But on another way, I mean, it's not really. It's nothing is resolved. Absolutely nothing. And the question of whether the troops remain or leave or any diplomatic activity at all. There wasn't much diplomacy. There was just yeah, there wasn't, and politicians weren't involved either. It seems very hand off for a drama. I mean, it didn't. These dramas don't go for long. Just uh, 3/4 of an hour, pretty much. So that's half the length of a movie, a normal length movie, hour and a half. So I guess they don't have much to put in, much time. But yeah, that's no excuse. They could still, I mean, proportionally have everything at the right sort of length. They just didn't include much. They just included the drama with the mother and such, and not much else. The tension, I guess, between the police liaison and the mother, I guess, was interesting in terms of what the populace are more likely to believe, and just because they're citizens of one country doesn't mean that they'll believe what that country believes, etc. Uh, but beyond that, it doesn't really say much more. Really, I mean, it's very. I've seen. Well, I have seen better drama, and I've also heard better drama. It wasn't really. Yeah, and with regards to Dangerous Visions, this is honestly the most mundane Dangerous Visions I've ever heard. I've listened to much better. They tend to be sci-fi generally, and in my mind, Dangerous Visions is something that is truly interesting. This wasn't truly interesting. This was mundane, as I say, and it didn't evoke any sort of wonderment that I usually get from Dangerous Visions. Like I once listened to one about the possibility of, what would happen if bees went extinct, which is a real possibility. And I don't remember much because it's been years now, but I remember that, I remember it well, positively, in terms of, how the drama was constructed, not in terms of obviously what happens if bees were extinct. But I mean, it was much more food for thought in a way than this was. I mean, in a way, all they did with forward presence is, they exchanged what would normally happen with normal hostage taking, like, where normally they'd want money, and, just simply switch the motive to that of politics. But it didn't really, they didn't really go further. They really didn't. I mean, they could have done better if they went further, if they, you know, um, show the machinations behind political decisions and such, behind the political decisions that did supposedly happening within the drama itself. So it's not like it didn't happen, they just didn't show the machinations behind it. And so that takes away a bit from the what if and such, I mean, they seem to focus quite a lot, exclusively, pretty much, on the drama between the mother and the liaison. And while, a bit of it was interesting, I mean, a bit would be interesting, other stuff, though, would potentially also be interesting in terms, even if we have just this kind of context as a drama, which wasn't as interesting as other Dangerous Visions, but even if we just tackle just this as it is, this context with the story, with these characters. Well, obviously, if it was exactly like this, then it would be this. But let's say within this context, then you know it could work, but only if you really include other stuff. Like even within 45 minutes, I mean, it could have easily had less of the motherly drama and more of the, not that, politics doesn't normally result in, automatically riveting drama, but in this case, it would have been, I suppose, in terms of, um, inter uh, just drama between countries as well. I mean, there was a bit of diplomatic drama, but not much. And what they covered was very, not very exciting. One has got to admit. So yeah, I kind of went in thinking it could possibly be an interesting Dangerous Visions, because all the others were pretty much, but it really wasn't, unfortunately. Um, uh, so yeah, in a way, I mean, I don't entirely disagree with how it ended, but yeah, overall, it wasn't really a mesmerizing drama, so doesn't quite matter, I guess, how it ends. It just ends anyway, so yeah, there's no resolution to how it ends, and it's not really very, yeah, it's just what it is, really. It could have improved, possibly, um, but it's certainly, I think I've seen better, even in terms of hostage tape. I don't know. Let's just say, yeah, this as it is, yeah. Um, but yeah, whatever. Honestly, uh, I have watched and heard better. Let's just say, yeah.